Hey guys, so I'm here to wrap up the month of January. It is the 30th, so I still have plenty of time to get some reading done, but the books that I'm currently reading, I figured I wouldn't finish before the beginning of February, so I'd just wrap up my month right now and show you the 3 books that I finished. I know, kind of pathetic, but I do have a giant book looming over me that I was hoping to finish this month, but didn't get a chance to. I got distracted and am currently reading 4 books, but anyways, that's besides the point. So I will briefly share with you what I read and what I'm currently reading. So the first book that I finished this month to start off the new year was The Invasion of the Tearling by Erica Johansson. This is the second book in the Queen of the Tearling series. As it is part of a series, I don't want to talk too much about it. Just enjoying this series for what it is. I think it is a very interesting concept. It's set in a post-apocalyptic fantasy world that has this group of people kind of migrated to another area in the world and are currently habitating this sort of island. Not a whole lot is explained, and I'm not crazy about the world building. I feel like Erica could have done a little bit more with that, but I am enjoying it for what it is, which is a fun, light fantasy read that I enjoy in between my nonfiction reads. So it is a lot of fun. I'm very eager to find out what's going on next in this world. So yeah, I ended up rating it a 3.5 stars because I am enjoying the adventure and action-packed bit of this novel. The next book I finished was Names for the Sea, Strangers in Iceland by Sarah Moss. This is a memoir about Sarah's time when she moved with her family in 2009 to Iceland to work at a university in Reykjavik. She moved with her husband and 2 sons, and it's just about her time living in Reykjavik, learning about the Icelandic culture, about Nordic culture a little bit, and just exploring the island. She briefly talks about in the beginning of her memoir that she had visited this island with a friend when she was like 19 or 20, so she had been exposed to Iceland, but this was her first time living abroad as an expat, and I really loved the way she talked about living abroad and the loneliness and the alienation that you feel, but also of course the excitement, the adventure, and those are all things that I can identify with being an expat. So I'm really loving reading these expat memoirs about Nordic culture, because I did read The Year of Living Danishly last month and really enjoyed that. And yeah, if you guys have any more recommendations for memoirs by expats and their kind of musings of expat life, definitely let me know, because I really enjoyed this. And actually I want to read a little passage to you that I really identified with and loved. And it's reading. It was a big thing for me when I arrived. It made me feel that someone had been through it all before. And then just a little bit down in the page it says, as in so many travel books, writing seems to be therapy for the trauma of alienation. And I just really love those quotes. Sarah Moss writes so beautifully in this memoir, and I ended up giving it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I can't really say why I didn't give it a 4 out of 5 stars. I just felt like it didn't necessarily, the full memoir didn't connect with me as I was thinking, and maybe that's not fair to what I was originally thinking, and maybe that's not fair to the novel or the writer, but I don't know, this book I was just hoping a little bit more. I guess maybe my own personal things. I would have loved for her to write more about the Icelandic outside of Reykjavik. She traveled a couple times, but not as many as she would have liked, because it was very expensive at the time to live in Reykjavik and in Iceland. So I don't know. I don't really know why I didn't give it a 4 or 5 stars. Maybe I should change it, because maybe that's a little unfair, but I did really enjoy this memoir and would highly recommend it. Last book I read for this month that I actually did give a 5 stars, because I'm still thinking about it, and that is Jon Ronson's So You've Been Publicly Shamed. This book talks about Jon Ronson's time when he was it first starts off with Jon Ronson being his identity being hacked on Twitter by this spam bot, and he confronts the guys that are running the spam bot and tells them, hey, can you please stop? There was nothing super embarrassing that was happening, but he just felt like his privacy was being invaded, so he told these guys to stop. They didn't, so he kind of rounded up his Twitter friends, and they all kind of came at the spam bot, and they removed the Twitter account that was duplicated in Jon Ronson's name. So he became really fascinated after that about public shaming, because he was excited that they brought down the man and, you know, life was restored, but he wondered how that affected other people's lives and what it does to other people's lives, individuals' lives, rather than like a corporate world in a corporate setting. So he begins to investigate on people who have been publicly shamed on Twitter because of maybe some mistakes that they've written about or tweeted about. This one example is this woman who was on a trip to South Africa. She made a racist comment thinking she was being light and fun. It was light and funny and all that stuff, and she boarded the plane, and 11 hours later when she landed in South Africa, she realized that all of Twitter, she was trending on Twitter, and she had lost her job, and she was being completely publicly shamed for this comment that she made. And the point that Jon Ronson makes in this book, which really just makes you stop and think, because at first when I heard this story, I remember hearing this story a few years ago when it first came, you know, people were talking about it, and at first I was like, well, that was stupid of her, she shouldn't have posted a comment like that. And while, you know, people make mistakes and post stupid things that maybe they should think twice about, is it really okay for us as a society to shame them and, you know, make all of these, like, there were comments of death threats that she was receiving rape threats, and it just kind of makes you stop and think like, whoa, that's a little bit extreme. I mean, she made a comment, she was joking, obviously it was in bad taste, but maybe, you know, no one really deserves death threats like that. That's a little bit extreme and a little bit crazy. So yeah, it just kind of made me stop and think about what we do, public shaming, you know, and the movements that we start on Twitter and social media, and what social media platforms are all about. And so he really makes a great argument about that, and I really, really enjoyed this book. I journaled a little bit about it. It really made me think, and so I gave it a 5 stars. Originally I was giving it a 4 stars, but when a book continues to make you think long after you've read it, I think it deserves a 5 star. When it develops such a high emotional reaction. I don't know, I just think this book was amazing, and definitely want to pick up some more of his journalistic works. So that's what I finished this month. Now on to what I'm currently reading. So in the vein of fun fantasy, I am currently reading The Fate of the Tearling by Erica Johansson, and this is the 3rd and final installment in the Queen of the Tearling series. Again, not going to talk too much about it because it is part of the series, but I am enjoying it, and I would love to finish this by tomorrow or tomorrow. That would be great, but I doubt it. It's a little over 400, almost 500 pages, so and I'm only like halfway through, so I don't think I'll finish it, but who knows. The massive book that I'm still reading, that I took a little break from to read some of these other works, is The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas. And I originally read this when I was like 15 or 16, but I didn't realize at the time that I had picked up the abridged version, so it was only 400 pages, and then it wasn't until years later when I finished it, it didn't take me years to finish it, but after finishing it years later, I realized that the actual you know, full edition is like over 1,400 pages, and so I was a little upset with myself and kind of vowed that I would pick it up again someday. So I'm trying to pick up bigger books this year and tackle some other more challenging reads, so I am still making my way through this. I started this book at the beginning of December, and hopefully will finish it in February. I think I only have about 400 pages or so left, so it's a honkin' novel. Next book I have is for our book club pick for next month. I'm still waiting for this month's pick which is The White Castle by Orhan Pamuk. He's a Turkish writer, and I'm still waiting for that to come into Amazon. We're meeting on Saturday, so I'm really hoping I get it this week, though I don't know when I'll have the time because my schedule is crazy busy this week. I was hoping to get it today because I have plenty of time today, but no, couldn't get it today when it's most convenient for me. Whatever. Anyways, serves me right for taking forever to order it. The Brief and Wondrous Life of Oscar Woe by Junot Diaz. This is our pick for next month. My book club, I pick 3 books. They recommend books and I'll put them onto the list, and I pick 3 books that people can choose from, and then we get together and we talk about all 3 of the books, usually trying not to spoil them for one another. So it's really great conversations that we have. So this is the one of the ones that I picked for next month, and yeah, I'm a little bit of a ways through, but should be good. And then the last book I'm currently reading is this lovely biography of Isabella, Queen of Castile, by Kristen Downey. And this is a little bit of a chunker. I think I still have like 100, maybe 200 pages left, so not terribly much. But it is a great biography if you're ever interested in Spain and the Middle Ages in Spain, and Isabella. She was an incredible ruler, highly controversial of course, but amazing the things that she accomplished in her lifetime and the things that happened in her lifetime. I'd love to do more of an in-depth review about this book when I finish it, so yeah, we'll see about that. But yeah, that is all I finished in the month of January and what I'm currently reading. I hope to get to some other fantasy and nonfiction this month, so we'll see how that goes. I don't want to do a TBR or anything because that's just not my thing, but yeah, let me know what you guys are reading in the comments, and I will talk to you guys later.